you might recognize my cohort here, yeah?
Yes, of course. Hi, Dottie.
Hi, Tommy.
So we're gonna do some of our presentations from Hawaii today, which are super exciting. And the first one's gonna be from Kauai, and Dottie here, Reynolds Yadado.
Yadao.
Yadao, pardon me.
Keep it simple.
Yeah. I just call her Dottie. It makes it much easier. And I'm gonna have her introduce the Kauai team that's also gonna be, that helped produce this as well. And then we'll take it from there and we'll watch the video after that and come back for some Q&A. So take it away, Dottie.
Hi. Well, I was ably assisted, in fact, led by our team on Kauai, Johnny Gordinas, the island director, and James Keach, Dr. James Keach, who was so calm through all of our frantic efforts. Really appreciated that. We had a beautiful setting at the Kauai Zen Garden out in Kilauea, North Shore of Kauai, and I hope you enjoy the video.
Good afternoon. I'm Johnny Gordinas. My wife Teresa and I are the owners of Tropical Flowers Express. We've been doing this for over 40 years already. We're growers and exporters and designers of Kauai's tropical flowers and foliages. Why don't you come along today and help me harvest some flowers that are going to be used in our wedding celebration 2021 here out on the Garden Island. These are softest fresh fish, as you can see, on the way down. And we just happened to run into a Guadalupe flower. It's in the family with Bird of Paradise. Going down here closer to the reservoir. Hi. We will be harvesting some honeycomb or beehive ginger called Zingiber spectabilis. We will be harvesting a ginger family flower. It's called Zingiber spectabilis. Some people call it honeycomb ginger, and some people call it a beehive ginger. And actually, not many of the tropical flowers have scent, but this does. And here's the true flower. You say this is a spectabilis flower, but this is the true flower of the plant. Right here, what I'm holding in my hand. Very easy to harvest. Take my sickle over here. Cut as low as you can, because you can always make your flower stems shorter but not longer after you cut them, right? So here we have our Zingiber spectabilis. What a pleasant smell. This will be used in our wedding arch arrangement. It's a different, it's more on the yellow side, yeah. Here we have a red ginger, and red gingers bloom all year long. The botanical name is Alpinia purpurata. Red ginger blooms all year round. Comes in different colors too. It comes in pink and even in white. You merely cut the flower as long as you can, because again, you can always make it shorter, but you can't make it longer after you cut it. In preparation for export or for flower arrangement, we're trimming off the leaves. Okay? Sometimes you leave one leaf and sometimes you don't. That's optional. So we have a plant with all the leaves on and compare it without the leaves. And this is the way they are sold or used. I just wanted to mention to our audience that red ginger is a very long-lasting flower. It's a good flower to put in an export box. We get flowers from our farm to your door in 2 business days. The florists love it. They're very long-lasting. As you can see, I'm right smack dab in the ginger patch. Red gingers all around me. You have small ones, mediums, very large ones, and gingers like a lot of water. So this is a great place for them, and a gentle slope right next to the reservoir. This is called the lipstick plant, or achiote. It's also used for food coloring. It makes a great addition to your flower arrangement. So you could even use these in leis. This is the dry pod right here. And there are many red seeds inside, which are used for planting. These are a little over mature right now. But the seeds are right inside these pods right here. If we open one up, you can see all the red pods right there. Just a little information regarding post-harvesting. After the flower is cut out in the field fresh, then it's dipped in a solution in this nice big flower tub of Dawn soap. No chemicals, biodegradable. Everything's fresh from our farm right to your door in 2 business days, and we go through and we wash everything that leaves our farm. So when you get your product, you're not going to see any bugs crawling all over your kitchen table. Okay, the same thing goes for the spectaculus and also the lipstick. And there's many other varieties. One moment. Here's another sample of a heliconia type flower. We don't have flowers in buckets waiting to be sold. Everything is cut fresh when you order from us. Some nice bouquets here. All fresh from Tropical Flowers Express. These are made by my wife, Teresa. Oh boy. This came from Upcountry Kauai, from Tropical Flowers Express. Red ginger, Alpinia purpurata. Hold on one moment. Our designer is in need of red gingers, so I must do my duty. There you go, Dottie, the magic maker. Okay, and we have over here achiote, or the lipstick plant, if I can get it out. Hang on. Achiote, lipstick plant. You can break this open and get the seeds and use the seeds for cooking or for coloring. This is beehive ginger or Zingiber spectabilis, and it does have a fragrance to it. If you squeeze it, you can smell the ginger. Not all tropicals do. This beauty over here, this pendant beauty, is a Valerigera. This variety here is called, it's another pendant type. It's called a Colinciana. And of course we have some beautiful Monstera leaves that make great fillers. This is called Hawaii fern. And over here we have a giant size spectabilis. And it turns all red when it's mature completely.
Hey Johnny, what's that say on your shirt?
It says Kauai grown.
Awesome.
Then we have some more red gingers over here. And then I'm so sorry, but I forgot what the name of this pendant is, but it's really cool.
Lobster claw.
Yeah. And right over here we have some beautiful, beautiful white dendrobium orchids.
Those ones are fragrant, or?
There's not much of a scent to them. This is called the Song of India. Or Pleomele is another name for it. Makes great filler foliage. Okay, and then one more real cool stuff that Miss Dottie is going to be using are these vines. These are lilikoi vines.
Passion fruit.
Oh, I'm sorry, lilikoi or passion fruit. Lilikoi is a Hawaiian name for passion fruit vines. And Dottie will be using these in her archway to weave through the flowers to give it some kind of, give it like a continuity, a movement to follow the eyes. Lilikoi, passion fruit. Pretty much it right now, except for we have some kind of cool looking tea leaves.
Now this isn't drinking tea, yeah?
No, this is spelled T-I. It's cordyline. Cordyline terminalis.
Beautiful.
Isn't that cool, that variegation?
Yeah.
Then we have another color here.
Nice and waxy.
Yeah. Then we have these big Monstera type of leaves.
Wow. That's huge.
It sure is. I think that's all we have for now. These are all Kauai grown, Kauai fresh. Straight from the farm, right to you. Just cut your length and I got the rest, okay? Getting a little technique here. I'm not gonna have time. I don't know when. I gotta be here at 8 o'clock in the morning. You got more bunches. You got more bunches over there. Plus you get the achot. You want some small ones? Not yet, huh? Okay, we've got 2 more bundles of the larger ones. How's this beautiful background here at the Zen Garden of Kauai? Isn't this such a beautiful location, a venue? I did wash every flower, by the way.
Like one of the lot of
Uh-huh. Oh, that's looking sweet. What a great idea, Dottie. I really enjoy like having all just like having the grouping, all the red, you know, the grouping of these flowers. Yeah, it'll be really nice when it's done, and you should send them a picture of it. This is the last of the.
Too bad they didn't either cut.
Yeah, this is the last of the larger reds. Kiss of death. It's the Siam rose. And this is a calathea. I forget the common name. Wait a minute, let me get my hand out of the way.
Got a good hand, Johnny. Don't worry. Well, he's got even the little cute flower, the true flowers coming out.
Uh-huh.
Nice though.
Well, my thing was, I mean, ever since I started doing flowers, I was very lucky that this guy just walked into my shop. He was on vacation, and he had been one of those float designers. And so, without him, I might never have seen this simple idea of triangles, you know? Because he said, you have to see the imaginary line. He says, if you have, you know, you go from point to point to point to point, imaginary line. You go from point to point to imaginary line. So if there's something missing, then, you know, you put in a something to create that imaginary line. But he says, if you don't do that, then your thing looks awkward somehow, you know. I mean, that was like the turning point on the aha moment, you know. Like these, don't cut that off, but you can
Cut all the side shoots?
not necessarily all, but thin it out. Just
Okay.
just kind of clean it up so that you get that swirly look.
Okay. Let me get my clippers. You want to leave this long one here?
For now, yeah.
Okay. And cut all these?
Yeah, the hairies. Just tie it to that so that it won't slide off. And then we can cut these bamboos, but I'm gonna put the umbrella through the grid up there.
So, do you have a name for your farm? Yadao Farms or?
He calls it Yadao Farms.
Okay.
Very original.
You gotta know who owns it, right? Okay. How's that?
Welcome to the Zen Garden of Kauai, located on the beautiful north shore of Kauai in the town of Kilauea. We would like to thank them so much for providing such an exquisite and peaceful and beautiful venue for our program today. The beautiful flowers that you see behind me were received from Yadao Farms on Kauai. Tropical Flowers Express and Tropical Flowers by Charles, all Kauai grown. And my hakule was made by Elvine Chow from Heavenly Hakus, right here on the Garden Island. I am honored to introduce my friend for many, many years, Miss Dottie Reynolds-Judao of Garden Island Party Essentials. Dottie, can you please tell us about your designs today and some of the flowers that you've received from this beautiful arch?
Well, as my vision in creating this design was trying to go from the more solid to the more fluid. I tried using the pendant flowers to create the movement, the flow, kind of imitating rain, imitating water flowing, the little raindrops of the crystal garland. And just like in the United States, you might have the bluebird of happiness. In Hawaii and Japan, they have the cranes. When a girl is getting married, she creates 1,001 cranes, and that is supposed to be good luck for her, all the good omens. I use the red ginger to give me the upright stance on this side. Take the design over, softened it up with a wrap of both the Jamaican passion fruit and the more common yellow passion fruit. And I created an umbrella using a tree or a vine called the Bauhinia. It's the family of an orchid tree, and this is actually the backside of the leaf. It has kind of a felted finish to it, a golden finish. And if you can see the little capped tendrils there, the vining branches go out and the tendrils reach out and grab. So we've got in our cascading beauties here, these lovely fuzzy heliconias. And like a lot of, what would you call us? Hobbyist growers versus scientists. Oh, it's a fuzzy heliconia. It's a chandelier type heliconia. This I know is a Colenziana. I'm not really sure what the name of this one is, but it's a beautiful root beer. I think one of the names, common names that it has. And this, one of our club members did a seedling, so he said there really isn't a name for this one, but it's a hefty guy. I would say the blossom is about, if you're holding the stalk and the flower, it can be 1.5 to 2 pounds. Both of these fuzzies, they're the same variety, just at different stages of development. And the amazing thing about this particular type of flower is that you can dry it. And I did a display, and it was in that display for 3 years. I did it with bamboo, nothing fell apart. It gets a little more crinkly, but it's a little lighter colored, but it still maintains the felting. And we have some of the lipstick pods in here. The lipstick pods also can be used fresh and then let them dry. Dendrobium orchids, the white sprays of dendrobium orchids. And we have this beautiful leaf. This is a new hybrid of a monstera. What is the benefit of using island-grown flowers. I mean, the chief benefit is we save a lot of freight money. But, and if we can get on-island flowers, we know exactly what we're getting. If I say I want red gingers, I get beautiful red gingers. I guess like I say, my idea behind this design was not specifically yin-yang, but the more solid, maybe more masculine side. I used raw bamboo that I got from the forest, and then I used a real tailored piece of bamboo, a panel on that side. And then all this fluid movement made me think it was a more feminine, lush part of the design. So I guess that's basically the idea behind my design.
Tell us, Dottie, what are you doing today?
Well, I know that we are supposed to be relaying the theme of Neotropica, because today's demonstration was all about these ornate and heavy tropicals. I thought that I would do a heavier bouquet, using heavier, denser flowers. These anthuriums that normally would be considered a heavier flower, these are the mini white anthuriums, and as you can see, they look pretty dainty in here. I would say it's the same density as a rose would be. Zingiber spectabulus. And it has a beautiful gradation of the red to yellow. Starts out yellow. As it ages, it reddens at the bottom. I've got 2 of the bromeliads, and I'm adding in the white anthuriums to be joined by some red anthuriums later on down. Now when I do these hand-tied bouquets, of course we try to use as much of the stem as we can. I think the only drawback with using the heavier tropicals like costas, bromeliads, the ginger flowers, all of them, they have a very substantial stem. Something dainty doing a little dance up at the top of the arrangement. The other nice thing about bringing these flowers in, the white flowers, as if you've ever used white anthuriums, they bruise kind of easily. When we order these white anthuriums from the grower, they very nicely package them like this to protect the flowers from rubbing against each other, from being bruised. The little nose is out there outside the plastic bag, because if the flower is compressed in shipping, white flowers bruise really easily. So something like this happens, where there's these, just because of the flower nudging against, you get a bruise like that. Now, because a lot of these, as I say, are real heavy, solid flowers, I like to add in some fluffier ferns, give us a little bit of softness in the bouquet. Now with this particular leaf, this leaf is supposed to be principally green with a pink edge. when you see it yellowing like this, it's because the leaf is aging. But since I've got all this nice yellow stuff in here, I think it's a nice complement. Okay, so I'm getting down toward the end of it. Now don't think I'm wasting these flowers, because all of our brides like to have some flowers to scatter in their path. Bouquet all by itself flower. These are the leaves that come on the protea. These are great for using in dry arrangements. They dry to a beautiful mahogany brown. And if you spray it with clear varathane, it actually looks like varnished wood in your flower arrangement. To give me a stronger collar. Pick these Xanadu leaves from my yard this morning before coming here. Now to cover all the sins. This variegated tea leaf as the ribbon. So if you, generally when you are doing things with tea leaves, you split them from this side. But if you're going to use it as a wrap or a ribbon, and you want it to split square down the middle, you tear it from the top, not from the bottom. Always try to do a fold at the end, finish it with a pin. Nice little tropical bouquet.
It's been a wonderful day here with you, Dottie. Thank you for your creativity and your beautiful flower designs that feed your soul. We say aloha here from the Garden Island of Kauai in the little town of Kilauea. And until we meet again and we get to see you in person, stay safe and stay healthy. Aloha from Kauai.
Aloha.
And it's got a Lou Nishida. He welded this for me. He's got some good skills, that boy. Okay, gang, we're in rattlesnake country. Nah, just kidding. There's no rattlesnakes on Hawaii.
And that's what.
Hey all, welcome back from Kauai. I see Johnny, James, and Hitomi. Hi everybody. That was beautiful. Johnny, was that your farm? That beautiful place?
Yes, it was.
Wow.
Come visit sometime when you're in Kauai.
Oh, you bet I will. Hitomi, have you ever been there?
Oh yes, I've been there several times and hiked down to the water and up and through the maze of beautiful products. It is a wonderful place, and he did a great job sharing that with us. And James, thank you for following him around with your camera. That's a lot of walking. Great. Fantastic.
That was great. And we still have Dottie with us here in studio, so and we got a few questions. I'd like to start with one for Dottie, and then I'll ask Johnny and James a couple things. So, and Hitomi, anything come up, please feel free to ask. But just a simple one, Dottie, how long have you been doing flowers?
You're aging me. About 40 years.
40 years. And what got you into it originally?
My mother wanted me to move back to Kauai. I was living in Honolulu enjoying myself. And she said, time to come home, settle down. So she bought a flower shop. I had very little experience doing flowers. I helped friends with weddings and stuff. And I was thrown in at the deep end. And we were just getting our business rolling, and then we had the first of 2 big hurricanes on Kauai, shut tourism down. I didn't even know how we were going to pay the rent. There were so few customers. But as I said in the video, this man came and was visiting from California, and that was, you know, what do you call it? Serendipity. That he walked in and he said, I like your arrangements, but something's a little off. Would you mind if I helped you a little? And I said, by all means, I can use anything that you're willing to give. So anyway, I had the shop for, the first shop was about 6 years. The second shop was another 5, 6 years. And then I had 2 children by then, and a rambunctious little boy that wouldn't stay in the shop. So I had to give it up. Couldn't do it. Either choose the kids or choose the flower shop, and I chose the kids. So I just continued, you know, doing it part-time whenever anybody needed help. And then my kids are all grown up, so I got back into doing weddings, smaller weddings, and they're getting bigger and bigger, and I'm getting older and older.
Awesome. And you're still enjoying doing it every day when you do it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My daughter says, when are you going to retire? And I go, what am I going to do if I retire? And I'm doing bigger and better stuff. Why would I retire? I'll fall off the ladder someday.
Oh, no.
Don't even talk about it. You know, that was a wonderful choice of location. What a beautiful spot that was there at Zen Gardens.
Yeah,
And
it's
it was
a new
such
site.
a wonderful teamwork too. I love Johnny working and helping you, and you know, it's kind of the whole spirit of the family, isn't it? The floral family, the grower and the designer working together. And so, and with the help of the extension agent. I mean, that was just a fantastic collaboration. Beautiful job.
And Johnny, if I don't mean to date anybody or age anybody, but we also had the same question come up for you. How long have you been in the industry as well?
We've been in the industry approximately 40 years, like Dottie, and actually her daughter and my son are classmates from Kapaa School. So we go way, we've been known each other for many, many years. I first started out raising goats, chickens, and ducks on my farm, and then our next door neighbor, Uncle Howard Yamamoto, was one of the pioneers of tropical flowers and an excellent tea leaf and bromeliad hybridizer. This was on the day one. David Shigi, a good friend of mine, also shared this information. So Uncle Howard said, you need to get rid of your goats and your chickens and your ducks and your garden, and you need to start planting tropical flowers. And it was a new upcoming thing. And I swore I would never export tropical flowers because of all the hurdles. But we've been doing that for almost 30 years now, and there's no turning back, and we love it. And the partnerships of people like Dottie and James just made it so much fun. So that's kind of my background. I'm retired after 32 years working with University of Hawaii, the Kauai Agriculture Research Station, but my wife and I are still growing, exporting, and also designing tropical flowers. with great influence by my friend over there, Hitomi Gilio.
But so Johnny, you do a lot of sell at the market too, right?
Yes, we do. We were doing 3 farmers markets, but we're currently doing 2. There's a farmers market in Puhi, sponsored by Grove Farm. We do that on every Saturday. Actually, Terry does that because I'm in the farm harvesting, preparing for Monday ship outs. And then Terry also does the shops at Kukui'ula, which is in the Poipu area, every Wednesday. So that keeps us very busy besides our regular flower shop, local flower shop orders, and our exporting tropical flower gift boxes anywhere in the continental United States.
Thank you, Johnny. Just a quick note, it's not that Dottie and I don't like one another, we're observing 6 feet distancing here, so if this looks like we're opposed or something, I don't want that to come through. Dr. Keach, same question. I know you're a young man, but you have an extensive background. I was wondering maybe you could just give a quick synopsis of all you've done as well, because you have quite a background in plants. So I was wondering.
Yeah, so I was lucky. My mom and my dad both garden and kind of taught me about plants. And then my mom actually worked as a landscape designer and a floral arranger. So I was kind of exposed to that. But I discovered orchids through a friend of the family when I was around 10, and those were kind of the gateway drug to flowers for me. I, got involved with that, and then kind of decided to pursue that in my education, and ended up doing a degree. My focus is on plant breeding and developing varieties, but I worked after I finished my PhD at a garden in Singapore, Gardens by the Bay, and focused there on doing a little bit of research, but also helping to kind of outreach and interpretation, trying to teach folks about flowers. I give talks to the local orchid society, come up with new varieties. And I missed Hawaii. I interned here. Dr. Amore, who was on previously, had actually been one of the people I'd interned with in Hawaii. I knew if I ever moved back to the US, I wanted to be back here, and happened to see this position. I'm really glad and excited to be able to work with flowers again. I think they just bring such brightness and levity into people's lives, as well as being fun. You just keep finding new colors and species and all these different things. It's just a constant sense of wonder and discovery.
Thank you, Dr. Keach. I just wanted to mention that we really appreciate you here on Kauai. Dr. Keach is the advisor for our Hawaii Tropical Flowers and Foliage Association on the island of Kauai, and he just has such a friendly, calm passion for the industry. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you, Johnny. I feel really fortunate to work with you all as well. It's a really great group with lots of experience and also fun.
Did I hear you say, James, gateway drug?
I did.
Love that. I love that because I think we all have taken that gateway drug. That's why we're here.
For sure, almost everyone I know who ends up in flowers has some story kind of along those lines where just something tuned them in and then they never let go. And I think that's wonderful, much better this than, abusing a pharmaceutical.
So true. So true. I love it. I'm going to use that.
Well, plants can save the world, can't they? Plants and flowers, they save us all. So that's great. That's great. So Dottie, this a little bit more about the presentation. Some questions came in specific about it, and I was wondering, or someone was wondering actually, can you tell a little bit about the umbrella that was in the presentation?
Well, I have this little love affair going with this Bauhinia vine. It's a family to an orchid tree, but it has the most beautiful velvety, coppery finish to the back of the leaf. The front of the leaf is green, and it has these tendrils that just climb over everything, curly, tight tendrils, and these pretty little copper-colored, feathery flowers. And when I discovered that they dried so perfectly, I have things that I've done with them that have been in perfect condition after 3 years. No varnish, no nothing. So I said, I gotta use these bauhinias some way. So then when I was thinking about the flow and the water and all that stuff, I said, I got this old umbrella. I'm gonna go gather some leaves. And so spent a few hours gluing the leaves onto that and the tendrils onto the cap of the umbrella. And it still looks perfect in my garage, but you know, it was just pet project.
That was absolutely spectacular there, Dottie. That was just absolutely gorgeous. And I love that we're discovering and showcasing some of these wonderful vines, because vines, I think, are some of the most important new crops that really could be looked at for the future of combining with the tropical flowers. So thank you for presenting that, because that was really beautiful.
Thank you.
That's a great segue right into the next question that we have here, which maybe I could point to you, Johnny, which is so with all the passion fruit vines that you keep showing, and do you also get blooms on those as well? Or are there just foliage vines?
The passion fruit vine does have a beautiful, outstanding looking flower. So because of that, it has the fruit, the passion fruit, which is we call lilycore. So in order to get a fruit, you need a flower, and and it goes on. And I'm sure, I know he told me he's very familiar, also James and pretty much everybody else on this screen. What a wonderful add the vine is to different arrangements. Like he told me, said it could be the next up and coming thing. So yes, they do have flowers, to answer your question.
And I just want to add to that there, Josh, because occasionally and quite frequently when I get the bundle of passion vines shipped here, they do have buds and they do blossom, and what an extra surprise that is. Oh my gosh, I just love it. So just want to mention that we do get those blooms on there sometimes in the shipment, and we love them so much.
And if I can add also, a lot of the ones, like the ones that were used in Dottie's arrangement, normally have kind of whitish flowers with some purple accents, but there's a range of different colors out there. And especially someone's doing an event in the islands, there's ones with bright red flowers, bright purple, even kind of bluish flowers. They don't always last kind of for multiple days, but for something like a wedding, I think they're a beautiful addition. And some are fragrant too.
And Dottie, did you have something to share?
In that arbor, I had passion fruit vines that were sourced from 2 places. We're lucky on Kauai that we have the growers, Johnny, Charles Reed, Kauai Nursery and Landscaping. They provide these boutique flowers. Charles has a quantity of the Jamaican passion fruit vine, and that has more of an oval leaf. It's much heavier, kind of more cardboard texture. And the other vine that we get from Greenpoint is the one that is more palmate looking and softer, and frequently that comes with flowers, and that's so pretty to use in the wedding work, and the fragrance, gorgeous. But so, we were able to use the heavier vine underneath, overlay it with the softer leaves, and 2 textures. But as you say, something we're using the vines, it just made the whole thing come together, because it would have looked so stiff if it was just the red ginger, but once you started twining the vines, it just came together nicely.
Nice.
That was really clever, Dottie, that you did. that you did the ginger straight on, and then you filled in the gaps with the vine. That was really good mechanics. That was fantastic. Thank you for that tip.
Thank you.
I have
Total
a-
chicken wire.
Thank God for chicken wire, exactly. I have a ginger question. Should I point that at you, Johnny?
Sure.
Somebody was wondering if the kiss of death is a ginger.
I believe the kiss of death is in the Costas family. Isn't that correct, right, James?
Yeah, Costas.
It's in the Costas family.
Yeah.
Costas. Some people call them spiral gingers. I think there's some confusion from that too. But they're Costas and gingers and bananas are kind of all distantly related, but not really closely, and kind of have different traits with that. But that kiss of death, that color is just so striking and wonderful on it. It's really always kind of great to behold.
That's a great point, Dr. Keach. Remarkably, the heliconias are relative to bananas, right? So they're like, I guess you would call cousins.
Yeah, and actually, when I visited Singapore Botanic Garden, they said they wanted to combine all of those into one garden, and they were trying to find a theme. And they kept kind of going up the scientific orders, from species to genus to family. And several generations up, finally put a theme garden of just ornamental bananas, heliconias, gingers, and costas together. If anyone ever has a chance, it's really striking. They have a banana with a bright kind of neon red and orange flower that goes straight up. I'd love to see that here and used in arrangements.
There's an excellent book by Dr. Fred Berry. I forget the name of the book. Do you remember he told me? Where he does a great description of how the heliconias and the gingers and the bananas are all related.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that we so commonly call so many of the different genuses ginger, because ginger, the alpinia, and then there's, it's often the costas is called ginger, and then the calathea sometimes also are called ginger. And so it's very confusing because it's really the common name that puts it together, but they're of different genus.
Yeah, exactly. And it's always, what can we speak about that most folks understand without things getting too technical, right?
Well, I'm completely lost, so no, I'm just. Actually, that's really interesting though, because how in my world, ficus, everything's a ficus or everything is a dracaena, and they all go down into another level and called so many different things, but really it all comes back to very similar characteristics in plants at the very beginning of everything. So I didn't know that about the heliconia and the banana. It's really cool. So a technical question that was asked, are all the flowers free-stemmed? And how long would it last that you did in your, or are they in water? Or?
The majority of them were free-stemmed because I know that gingers, you put them in a bucket in water and you can use them in a week and a half with no problem. No refrigeration, of course. Recut it, you can use it. So for wedding work, there would be no need to put it in water. I did use an oasis down at the bottom when I was putting the gingerbreads together because I wanted it to stand and, be structural. And so the only way to keep it in place would be to put it on an oasis, unless I wanted to have a giant ball of chicken wire. But it just was more efficient to pop them into that and maintain the shape.
Got it.
Actually, I really like the fact that it showed you prepping on day 1, and then day 2, you went back and you can see the alpinia, the ginger, were perfectly fine. So that really helped illustrate how well they do without water. And if anything, that's one of the main feature with the Hawaiian tropicals is they're so resilient with that sort of installation work. They hold up so well, and it doesn't require that extra water source, which takes the labor. It's a lot of labor that goes into adding water. So it's a very efficient material to use for installation work.
And
What's interesting too is we do not put any water tubes on our tropical flowers when we ship them. So they're usually 2 days in transit from our farm to the East Coast, and we can get product to the West Coast the next day. And so, I mean, it comes with care and handling instructions. So when they receive their flowers, they'll cut them at an angle with a good sharp knife in water, and they last up to 2 weeks, if not longer. That's how hardy they are.
well, to
So
show
true.
too, I mean, to demonstrate too how the reason they last so long is like the hanging heliconias. If you pick up one of those, it's 3 to 5 pounds. So it's all cellular in the stem, and it's holding a lot of moisture in there. So that's why it takes days and days before it actually dries out. But I wouldn't want to be putting water tubes on those babies.
Johnny, if I could, there was one, once again, the lily koi is really hitting home. So are passion fruit cut before fruiting all the time?
You know what? Maybe Hitomi or Dottie or even James could help answer that question, because I don't
Do you mean
normally work
vines?
with lily koi vines.
Okay.
Well, the vines, as I say, we got some from Greenpoint Nursery. When they sent us batches, there are actually some little lily koi fruit hanging on the vines. So that fruit is never going to ripen. And if you set it up day 1 and you go back day 2, there's a big possibility that fruit is going to fall off. But the flower, if you have a nice bud that's just starting to crack, when we receive the vine, we're not putting it into a water source, but that flower will continue to open and mature, and you'll have the fragrance of it. But yeah, once you cut the vine, you're not going to ripen the fruit.
Dottie, how long will a lily koi, or Hitomi, how long will the lily koi vines last in an arrangement? Or in an archway, that kind of thing? I mean, it's an event flower, but
Right.
anyway, I'm curious. It lasts 2, 3
I'll
days a
answer
week?
that. I'll answer that from our end as receiving this material here on the mainland, because I think that makes it resonate with a lot of the viewers here. They hold up really, really well, up to 2 weeks in water. But that's the key, is you have to really keep it really hydrated, because those pomade leaves, as Dottie mentioned, they're soft, firm but soft at the same time. They're, especially on the tips, the growing tips are the softest. So you won't get that holding up and that beautiful tendrils at the tips unless they're in water. So when I use it in an arch or that, I will put a water tube on the bottom end of it. But because of the fact that they're so long, it weaves through all through that, whatever structure, and it provides you just from that one water tube at the bottom. So I prefer to use water tube on those when I do installations, so that the tips don't go limp after it's been installed. So that's one of the tips. The other thing I want to point out about the lily koi fruit is it's wonderful when you get it with them, but I don't think the fruit's supposed to be on that vine when we receive it on the mainland, right? Because I don't think those fruits, you're supposed to ship fruits or berries. Right. So, I want to make sure that those growers that's shipping out to check to make sure there's no fruits in there on that vine coming to the mainland.
That's a really good point, Hitomi. Yeah, and the reason that's in place from my work with edibles as well is that there's special fruit flies that have been introduced to Hawaii but haven't been introduced to the mainland US or Canada. And these really wreak havoc on a lot of fruits there. So if the fruit is harboring those and it gets shipped over, it could, upset some of the local industry. I also wanted to point out kind of what Hitomi said about that they tend to be kind of younger vines. Anyone who gets a chance to see lily koi or passion fruit vines in person, they start to get woody as they get older. And I would imagine from a design point of view, that makes it a little bit harder to work with, whereas the younger part that's flowering is a lot more pliable.
Yeah.
Interesting point. We have a limited permit stamp from the state of Hawaii, which allows us to pack our boxes at our farm in our packing ship and put my limited permit stamp right on the box. FedEx picks it up and it goes to your door. Now, there's different kinds of plants, and Josh will attest to this. You need the BRN stamp for potted plants, and that's a whole different stamp. And if you're going to start shipping lily-coated fruits with your vines, I'm sure that is a whole different type of permitting process with the fruit.
That's just plain banned, Johnny. But, you know,
Huh?
it's just plain banned.
Yeah.
But inter-island, you know, it's not a problem. Coming from the Big Island to Kauai, we got the same
Right.
bugs.
Okay, so one more question here for Dottie, technical one. Could you explain again how you tear the tea leaf when you use it as a bouquet wrap?
Oh, well, you know, the tea leaf has a rib down the center. So if you look at the way the tea leaf grows, if you're doing like the very popular tea leaf lei now, they'll strip it from the bottom and you get kind of a feathery looking piece, but it's skinny. So if I'm going to use it as a wrap, I want a wide blade and I don't want it to split. So if I split it from the top, it'll split right down the rib and it'll leave a semi-solid base on it. So when I wrap it around, it stays together, it doesn't tear. So you maintain more structure integrity by splitting down the leaf. But tea leaves are fantastic because like you can make, if you want to fluff out your arrangement, you can do feathers out of tea leaves where you just use your thumbnail and you start from the bottom and you go almost to the edge of the leaf and you just strip up, strip up, strip up. Do it on the other side, then you bring them both down, the outer edge is down, staple it, and you've got this beautiful tea leaf feather. So it's an underused foliage in the mainland, I think, you know, because they're not familiar with working with it. But the working with it as a bouquet wrap is just because a lot of brides want their bouquets to look real tropical. So rather than wrapping it with a satin ribbon or just rough raffia, I like to use one of the variegated tea leaves so you have that color variation like a ribbon in the handle.
That was such a great point and a great technique there. And I totally concur with, like, if you're actually wanting to create a bouquet that's sort of organic, that I think it's a great idea to use the real tea leaf rather than the tea leaf that you buy that's like a plastic ribbon. I think I'd rather have the real thing. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right that it's very underused because it's actually like nature's ribbon, don't you think?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Johnny, there's quite a number of different tea leaves out there that I can think of right now that grow out, at least on Big Island here, that would be great for that. Do you grow a lot of different tea?
Yes, we do, because we use them in our flower arrangements and we use them in our foliage packs when shipping our tropical flower recipes to the mainland. Teas are so versatile. There's probably maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm guessing maybe 100 different varieties of tea leaf, from regular size to long to miniature and all the different colors. I agree, Dottie, they're underused. So we do grow a lot of tea leaves, and we sell them by the bunches.
Actually, Johnny, in your tour of your farm at the beginning, you walk through the field of that beautiful, brilliant red. Oh, I was just drooling when I was seeing that. That is beautiful color.
But that's the Antilou, or they also call it L'Illinois, right? Dottie, isn't that
Yeah.
the other name for the Antilou?
And that one is so willing to be propagated. you cut yourself a stem about a foot long, foot and a half long, stick it in some potting mix. You've got little sprouts of leaf shoots coming out in no time at all. And then dependent on how large you want the leaves to get, you pluck off the offshoots, leave one or two major head sets, and you get bigger leaves that way. So, but Antilou is just, I've planted hedges of that on properties that I work because it comes up so fast.
And Dr. Keach, if I may, really quick, is this somewhere where the university would fit in from a hybridized standpoint? Like I know Johnny said there's hundreds of varieties of it, but say we wanted a variegated red that didn't exist. Is this how we all work together in our kind of Ohana out here where the university would fit in? Is that something you could help with?
Sure. Yeah. I think, we always have a lot on our plate, but, one of the things, at least I personally love to hear, is what folks are looking for. And then I can sort of start keeping an eye out. And if it's, like you're saying, something that's not on the market, then it's a chance for us to potentially fill it in with a new cultivar. I don't think we have any active breeding for tea right now, but I know Russell Galanti, the other extension agent, has a project on green tea, which is used in arrangements as well. And it was actually figuring out that there had been viruses that were affecting the plants and were shortening the leaves. And they found out that by cleaning the viruses out using kind of some advanced techniques, they would get much healthier plants that actually would have leaves all the way from the ground up to the top. And I think the goal at that point was also for folks who are using it in things like luau, and cooking. But I think that applies to ornamentals as well. Even existing tea leaves, could we clean out and see if there's some viruses there? Can we look for more colors? And, if they're not available, I don't think it's too difficult. It's just, again, putting those time and resources in and knowing what the priorities of the growers and the industry are.
Dr. Keach, true or false? Okay. As far as propagating a tea leaf, you can plant the cane, okay? But pretty much all the tea leaves go to seed. So if you planted the seeds, would they mute back into something different possibly?
Yeah, tea is one of those plants where the seeds are going to end up looking different than the parent plant. And sometimes it'll be really different, and sometimes it'll only be a little different. It kind of depends on what other tea plants are in flower around it at the time. That's one of the things I love about plants and ones that don't come true to seed is you plant them, and each new seed that comes up has the potential to be a new and exciting variety. It's just kind of always like getting a present, essentially.
Your own personal science experiment, because you've got a red tea leaf and a green tea leaf growing adjacent, and you plant the seeds and you think, oh, I'm going to plant all these seeds off the green tea leaf and I'm going to get green tea leaves, and you don't. You get green with pink stripes, you get, pink edges. You have a long blade leaf planted next to a round leaf, and, you don't know what you're going to get there either, so.
They
Nice surprises.
flower too.
Yep.
The tea leaves flower also. So is there a possibility that they can be pollinated by bees from one plant to the next?
Yeah,
And then the seed comes out?
I'm sure that's how it happens.
I'm not sure what the pollinator is for tea plants, but you definitely could sit there. I've seen folks use paintbrushes and all sorts of other things to move pollen around, or, just plant a bunch of different ones together and let the bees kind of do their work. And then pick the seeds off, and who knows what you'll get. Yeah. Plus, you'll have all those exciting tea plants growing near each other, and you can kind of use the ones you like. Everyone wins.
How lucky are we that you could ask a question like that, Johnny, and get an immediate answer from an expert. Just, I mean, to have these extension agents out here to be able to the wealth of knowledge just like that. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, in other industries, you couldn't do that, and we're so lucky to have all these folks out here and spend the time to come out to your beautiful nursery and present all your incredible creations that you guys make and share all this time with us. And it was just a great adventure you took us on in Kauai. And we're running low on time here, so I wanted to get a chance just to say bye quickly to Johnny and Dr. Keach out there on Kauai. So give yourselves a quick aloha. And
Thank y'all.
thank you again, guys, so much for that.
Everyone.
Beautiful, beautiful work. And then Hitomi, we're lucky enough after, and Dottie as well here. Thank you so much for coming out and presenting all that and sharing your beautiful creation.
Thank you.
Great
Glad you
work.
liked it.
Great work.